Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride, where we are channeling the man in the moon. Today, please give a moment of your time, just a moment of thought to those people who have been harmed in these horrible mass shootings. Don't forget that it's not just the victims who have moved on to another life, but it's also their families and their friends and all these people who have been affected by it. If you can, just think for a moment, bring some love into your heart. Think about those people and just send it to them symbolically. It might seem that it does not make a difference. When people say thoughts and prayers, they don't really make a difference because they're not real. They are fake. But yours is not fake. I believe it when you're spending your actual time to do this, and it's not some part of political messaging. That if you bring that into your heart and send it there, it really does help them. Today we're going to take a look at Trump, see what his next moves are. I'm especially curious to see also if there's going to be mass shootings again and what we should do in that regard. Okay, let's start with Trump. So Donald Trump. Spirit, what can you tell me about Trump? Interestingly enough, I see Trump with a gun. I understand that, he is responsible for this. He's the one that inspired these shooters. And that's what I'm getting, is that he is responsible, and people are beginning to perceive him as the one that is responsible for these mass shootings. One problem, of course, is that he no longer has any strategy to win the presidency. Nothing is going his way. No international agreements. There are no beneficial relationships with other countries and foreign trade. Nothing. The economy is starting to shake. There is literally nothing else that he can promote beyond his sort of slightly veiled racism and these sort of attacks that he encourages. This ends his political career in a sense that there just is not any other topic that he can move forward on. If he moves forward on the racism and the sort of implied threats to these people, that's going to cause more of this kind of backlash. And he is smart enough to know, just barely smart enough to know that this is what's going to go down. There aren't many options left for Trump, so let that be a silver lining. He is really running out of options in terms of what he's going to do. And I think it's going to get a little bit worse. The international stuff is going to start coming up fairly soon as well. He'll be battling on all fronts. And I get the senators are just starting to turn on him. They're starting to realize that co-location with Trump is all over. And there's some, kind of medium, not so stringent Republicans, relatively moderate ones, that are already very, very upset that they're going to lose their jobs. So I'm actually getting something for the Senate. I can see the Capitol building, and it's kind of lighting up in certain strange ways. So, Spirit, can we anticipate a Republican loss? So the way that I see the Senate is I see the Senate, and there's like a red portion of it, interestingly, at an angle, a red portion of that building. And that red portion of the building appears to be growing smaller. It looks like it is less than half. What about, so Spirit, just to make clear, is this the Senate or the House? Okay, so let's take a look again at the senators. So it's kind of curious because the angle, it's sort of at an angle, but I can see that the angle is, if we take the angle into consideration, it appears like there are less than half the Senate is Republican. It's not a gigantic minority, but it looks like a significant majority of blue. Hmm. And this is the Senate. Okay. I've already been told that Mitch McConnell is very vulnerable here. Yeah. Gosh, I just can't imagine him losing to a Democrat. It's just Kentucky is so conservative. But let's take a look there. Hmm. I do see him McConnell looking very disappointed. I don't quite see a blue wave there. The blue seems pretty strong, and it looks very close to 50-50. But I do see him disappointed. That is McConnell. I'd say Collins is in trouble. Any other Republicans that are in trouble? I'm kind of getting a pasty faced moderate guy. I just don't know his name. There seem to be more than I have named. A bunch of people I don't know. Yeah, actually, I think McSally might be one of them. I'm not sure if I could judge specifics. As we get closer to the election, I will try to get clearer on which races are vulnerable for Republicans. But right now, I just see disappointment in the Republicans. I think that they finally went too far with a lot of people, and the Republicans within the Senate, they know that. They know that they are in trouble. The page has been turned. The people who are worrying about, oh my God, these foreigners coming and kill us, those foreigners haven't come in and kill us. The people that have killed us are the Trump supporters, the extreme right wing nuts who copy his rhetoric. So the average person out there, even a conservative person, is more worried about getting shot in a movie theater by a white Trump supporter than they are about a Latin American, refugee who doesn't have a gun. They're starting to get more, just practically speaking, worried about this, just worried for their own safety. And they're starting to realize that this whole Fox Newsification of everything was like a drug. And now that they're on the drug, they've taken the drug and now their kids are on the drug and they can't get their kids off the drug. So people are going to go further and further and further in their extremism, and it's going to alienate more and more people from the Republican Party. Okay. So show me more, Spirit, about Trump. Anything else? Spirit, what is most helpful for people to know about Donald Trump's next move? He's trying to come to some consideration on the border. Trump is it's almost like he's left a little bit of an opening at the border for people to come in. So I almost feel like maybe Trump compromised on this a little bit. So his extreme supporters aren't really happy about this. He had no choice. He has to compromise on something. So he appears to be getting something done. But whatever it is, it kind of backfires. I have a feeling that he's just, opened the door a little bit. Hmm. And that little bit that he's opened the door is not enough to satisfy anybody on the left. It's, we can't forget the mass shootings once they've happened. It's almost like anything Trump does right now, it's going to be a failure. It will not be enough to solve any problems. It will be token. It will be, irrelevant because people are worried about their own personal safety as well as they should be. And Trump is not going to go against, the National Rifle Association. He's not going to go against his base, essentially. He is stuck. This is a really tough situation for him. The chickens have come home to roost. Ha! It's funny because literally chickens are roosting on a fence and Trump is trying to kill them, right? He's trying to stop people from sounding the alarm. And he can't. Just notice that he starts to criticize now Fox News And he's not that successful because, of course, they are the ones crowing loudest for him. Hmm. Aha, it was a very interesting image. After he's trying to shoot the chickens, a woman shows up and she's like Lady Liberty. She's wearing red, white, and blue. And he even takes his aim at her, like he wants to kill her. And she turns to him, and it's almost like she's wearing reflection. And to me, she is all of America in all its highest ideals. It's humanity. It's justice. She is it. And as she looks at him, it's like she almost blinds him because it's really like almost like the American flag is a reflector, and it reflects back at him so that he cannot see. So one thing you'll notice is, again, this is a horrible silver lining, but while Trump is trying to put a cap on all these problems, he's not doing more horrible things in other places. So at least it's consuming all of his time. If you're any kind of political person, if you're able to influence anything, be sure that Trump spends all of his time putting out these fires. Because while he's investing his time in this place, he's not doing anything else too horrible because he cannot. So it is worth noting here that the more we push on him, the more we push on these kinds of issues, the more we protest, the more he has to, decide and do something. And he doesn't have much that he can do. So it's sort of putting him in a position of spinning. And he's still going to have international problems. It'll actually make them worse because now everybody knows how he's very vulnerable and he needs a win. So he's going to try to go to, Iran and North Korea and say, please stop doing that. And they have all the power. There's what's in it for Iran to stop? What's in it for Korea to stop? Why should they stop? Why not humiliate Trump and cause economic problems, which is what they're going to do? Okay, now on the other video, I saw 2 ships in the Sea of Hormuz, right, side by side. Now I'm seeing 4 ships in the Sea of Hormuz. And I don't know if it's just like 2 Iranian, 2 foreign. That's what it gives me the feeling of. So I think that what we're being told here is that this is going to keep going. Iran is going to keep blocking ships. It's going to keep creating problems in the sea. And, that will cause severe economic problems in the world if they can't get their oil. Mm-hmm. Don't forget that all of these dictatorships, they have a lot more time than Trump. They don't have 4 years to solve these problems. They have 50 years because that's how long their dictatorship will last. They can control the elections 100%. Trump cannot. So he has a very short time to be effective. And if he fails, then the citizens will take him out. So Iran's not particularly worried about Trump. It's all win from here. There's no way that they're going to lose. And Trump has shown that he will not go to war with them, for better or for worse. He will not do that. So there's not much in there for them to lose. Yeah, one thing to notice is that everybody on the planet is watching Trump. And everybody is watching him flounder and fail. There are dictatorships all over the planet who set him up as a model, and they are watching very closely as the American people respond and respond and respond and get closer and closer to removing him. All the dictatorships are watching. It's really important what every individual in our society does right now. And if you find this very depressing, you're completely normal. Watching your fellow citizens get shot while they go shopping for school supplies. These are mothers protecting their babies from getting shot and giving their own lives for this. Mothers and fathers. I mean, it's just appalling. If you find yourself getting really sad and depressed, that is totally understandable. But at the same time, understand that this is a time when we must act and move forward in love. You have to go up there and just say, no, I've had it. This is not acceptable. There is a good thing that's coming about, and that is that people are responding because their hearts are moved in these ways, and they are responding. Even if you're just talking to some friends, even if you're going out and meeting a few new people to create a better world, you are responding. Even if you're just watching this video and your thoughts go out to those people for a moment, you are responding. This is how you get out of the feeling of depression and the feeling that you can't do anything. Look, Marianne Williamson, we created that person. She did not exist before. We created that person in the sense of her political will. Listen to how articulate she was. Maybe she's not going to win, but such a candidate would not have been possible 10 years ago. We created that. We created this movement of people who are now actually, it looks like, maybe able to control guns in our society. So whenever you get to the point where you just feel overwhelmed with sadness, understand that that is natural, that is part of your empathy. If you didn't feel that, you would be a sociopath, right? This reaction that you have, which must be peaceful, it's very important. Even if it just means kind words to a friend, these are very important times. Do not underestimate the value of everything that you do in regard to this, even if it's just your own humanity addressing this is wrong. That is a very important thing. It might seem like nobody's really influenced by you, nobody cares, but you are wrong. You go to a cafe and you say something nice to the person. You don't have any idea like how difficult that person's day was and how much difference that moment made. So just go and just do your best to be strong but kind. That is the way out of this extraordinarily difficult psychological space that America and the world are in. Take heart that you do make a difference and that we are living in a time such that we will react to it just as people were living in a time in the 1930s when they were reacting to fascism. We are given the chance to react. This is, in a sense, an opportunity to show who we really are. And you don't need to be famous or important or on YouTube or anything else to get something done. You just have to be humane, and you just have to consider others, and you do have to give some portion of your heart to those people who are suffering, and at the same time, just do your best, even if that means writing someone a letter. Right? It doesn't matter what you do in this regard if it's well-intentioned, and it doesn't matter if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. All of this stuff is coming up so that we can become more human and understand the other people on the planet. So do take heart and do take a moment, and do take a moment for yourself. Realize that this is very difficult stuff. You might need to take a few minutes off today just to calm down and meditate. And if it really helps, take a moment and look at people who did make a difference in our society. Take a moment and look at those people who, hid Jews, or who, went down to the border, or Gandhi, or Martin Luther King. Think of Harriet Tubman and her incredible courage. All of these things, all of these people made a difference. Some of them made a difference. We don't even know who they are. They just silently helped, and they're just as important. But if it helps for you to know these stories about how just one person helped another, that is one place that you might go to, just to remind you that most humans are good. And though they sometimes make stupid mistakes, they learn. All right? Thanks so much for watching.